Alrighty, welcome to Friday night. This is October. This is November 21st, 2008. And hopefully we've got all of our technical problems taken care of. I know the past 2 weeks have been kind of scary. I've been having a lot of technical problems, and I think I've got most of them worked out. So bear with me, and everything will be just great and wonderful. Well, tonight is the start of something new, which, if you've been to the website a few times, you'll know that it now says that we're going to have different topics from night to night that we're on live, and it may be about the paranormal, it may be about what happened last week at Joe's Diner. I just don't know yet, because that's just how it's going to go. We're just going to see what's there, what's happening, the fun and games of it. And I would like to bring up, if anytime during the thing you guys want to throw your own comments in there, please use the instant messenger and let me know that you're out there and you want to say something, and I'll be happy to go with you on that. You are listening to RadioVisions, and I am Darrah, and this is hopefully going to be one of many broadcasts to come. We still haven't set up a holiday schedule yet, so some of these nights might get changed here and there, so just bear with us. And if you would like us to see a particular night that you would like us on live, let me know about that as well, and we'll try to get that done. I'd also like to thank the people that are starting to submit their music, and I do appreciate it. We do need lots more of it before we can really start playing music, because we only got a handful of people that have submitted so far, so I'd like to see tons more when possible. So please, if you're into the music business, please send us what you have produced so far. Go to the website and download the permission form and print it off and send me a copy of that and the copy of your CD, and I'd be happy to start mixing music and getting things going for everybody. Like I said, this is November 21st, and I am Darrah, and welcome to RadioVisions. So like I said, each live night we're here, we're going to have a different topic. Could be anything, could be everything. But tonight, I think the topic is going to be living on the road. It's always fascinated me that the people that live on the road, and when I say live on the road, I don't mean homeless people. I mean people that live in trailers and RVs and buses and campers and vans and all those little things. And they don't just do it on the weekends. I mean, they do it 24/7. And that has always amazed me. Now, I've been doing some research into motorhomes and RVs in the past, well, off and on for the past couple of years, actually. It's just a fascination of mine, and that I've been looking at them. And one day I might actually break down and buy one. Ooh, scary thought, I know. But it could happen. I might actually break down and buy one. But like I said, I've been reading about these people that live in them full time. Most of them say that the only thing that they wish they had was, what? More storage. Everybody needs more storage. I understand that. But my fascination with them is how people can be happy or content living in a motorhome or travel trailer. I personally like the travel trailers because you get more money, more bang for your buck, so to speak. But lately I've been looking at the motorhomes, the Class C motorhomes in particular. And this is my thoughts. I would eventually like to buy a Class C motorhome. I would like to equip it with everything I could so we could take this show on the road. We could do live readings from town to town. We could do radio broadcasts from town to town. That's what I'd like to do. That's what I think would be fun. So if you have any input on that, please let me know. And then if you're going to listen to this later on and you still want to put your input in, email me. Let me know. Or if you're out there right now, IM me. Let me know what's going on. Like I said, I would like to take the show on the road someday. Might be next week, Might be 2 years from next week. I don't know yet. So that's what would be fun. But like I said, getting back to my other storyline of people that live in them full time, they seem to do it with ease. I mean, they go from town to town. They pull into one place, and sometimes they're there for just a week or two, and they're gone. And other times they're there, and they actually go out and get jobs. Might be there for 2 months, might be there for 6 months to 2 years before they move on again. But all this time they live in their motorhome or the travel trailer, and they're stuck back behind some little RV lot, which is okay. I've seen a lot of RV parks online, and a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, are top notch. Really nice. Put some resorts to shame, and some lakes to shame. But I just like the idea of the freedom of it. Being able to hit the road whenever you want, pull into town, do your jobs, do your radio show, then take off and go. And I think that would be so cool. You know what I mean? I mean, it just seems like a carefree life, kind of like back in the 60s when a lot of people, which were classified as hippies — I don't like classifications myself, but that's what they were being called back then. And a lot of them appreciated it. They actually liked that title. But, they'd climb in their campers or their trucks or their cars or whatever, and they'd hit the road. And that was it. That's what they had. They'd go as far as they could, pick up people if they had to get gas money to move on. But most of them would pull into a town, work for a few days, get enough money pulled together for a tank of gas, little food, and hit the road again. I always thought that was kind of cool. But like I said, we're here every Friday and Saturday nights, and the topics are going to range from anything from the paranormal to psychic readings to everyday life to miscellaneous stuff that I just think would be fun and interesting to talk about, just kind of like the RVs tonight. And if you guys have any topics out there that you would like to throw in and we could talk about, please feel free to do so. I would also like to hear from you. Let me know what you think of each topic, if it was good, if it was bad. Did it need to have more detail? Did it need to have less detail? Do you even care about that topic? Tell me anything and everything. Send me those emails. Send me those emails. That's what it's all about, is getting emails. Even if you're on the road 24/7 in an RV or a trailer, you can get emails 24/7 with the great things of the internet on cell phones now. Isn't that wonderful? No matter where you go, you can stay connected and be connected. And actually, if you think about it, if you're in an RV, you'd have to have a cell phone. And if you wanted internet, I guess you could get it over your cell phone unless you bought a internet package through a cell phone company for your computer. I'm not sure how that works, but I'm sure it works very well. If anybody out there has wireless internet through their cell phone company, let me know how that works for you. I'm kind of curious. Does it work real well? Does it come and go? I'm sure it's not as perfect as a static cable connection, because just like cell phones, I'm assuming if you're in certain areas, there's blackouts and so on and so forth. Yeah, I've had a long day, so my speech might be a little funny tonight, but bear with me. This is what it's all about. Good times, laughter. And you are listening to RadioVisions with Darrah. I would like to thank everybody that's here tonight. And please sit back, relax, have a good time. And I am still looking for people to submit music. If you are an entertainer, are a musician, are an artist, someone who just tinkers with computer programs that makes music, and if you produce some stuff that you think is really cool, submit it. go to the website, download the broadcast permission form, and send it in. I would like to get as much music as possible before we actually start airing the music, because like I said earlier, as of now we've only got a few people that have sent stuff in. I would like a lot more than that in order to make it worth the while of trying to do this. If not, this will forever stay a talk radio station, but I think we can do better. I think if anybody's listening, we can do better. So keep that in mind, that we're out there having a good time, and if you do music, please submit it. If you haven't checked out the website thoroughly, please do so. Go to the home page, check out all the shows that I offer. Some of them will blow your mind. I mean, they're just so cool. And this time of year, everybody's thinking about having parties and so on. If you haven't booked a party yet, please give me a call. I still have a few dates open, and I would love to hear from you and figure out what we can do for you and what type of show. My number one show is the Psychic Party, and that is probably because it can fit any venue you want to throw it at. It can fit corporate events, it can fit home parties, house parties, it can fit birthday parties, it can fit graduation parties. You make up a party, the Psychic Party can fit it. Best part about the Psychic Party is that when you bring me in, I'll set up the table, usually in a separate room than the rest of the guests, because most people, when they want a reading, they don't want everybody to hear about it. They want to hear about it, you know. So we'll set up a table in a room. People will funnel in one at a time, or two at a time if you like, and they'll all get readings done. But the best part about this is that everybody that gets a reading will also get a free gift. And I will let you know now that the free gifts vary from party to party. So if you brought me in, let's say for your New Year's Eve party, the free gifts then would be different than if you brought me in, so let's say last Halloween at a party. I try to mix them up, match them up, so if I come back every year, you get something cool every year. How's that? So if you're still needing to book a party, please think about me and give me a call. I'd be happy to do what I can for you. Now remember, this is RadioVisions, and we are broadcasting from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Central Time every Friday and Saturday nights as of now. As I mentioned earlier, with the holidays coming, we may have to move some of these nights around or just not do them during the holidays to accommodate everybody's schedule. I know that's kind of a downer, but it happens. So we'll have something playing 24/7 for those who want to log in and check it out. And I do appreciate everybody that does log in and checks everything out, because that's what it's all about. I'm here for you, nobody else. How's that? I'm not here for anybody but you. And to be honest, that's true. I am here for you. So if you would like to know what's going on, please send me an IM and let me know what you'd like to talk about. We started off the night with talking about RVs. And the reason that we started off the night talking about RVs is because I wanted to buy one and travel around from town to town and do live shows. I always thought that would be really cool. And the cooler it is, the better it is, you know? And the whole thing behind this would be seeing people. I like to see people. Being stationary in one town is okay. And no big deal. It's great, it starts. But I would like to be able to pack up and, let's say, do a psychic fair in Colorado one weekend. Then the following weekend, maybe do a psychic fair in Seattle. Weekend after that, over to California. Weekend after that, maybe back here in Kansas or in Kansas City. I just think it would be fun to be able to do that and take everything I needed besides loading up my current vehicle, driving there, having to buy a hotel room, unpack, repack, go to the event. You know, that's what I'm getting at. And these people that live in RVs full time, I admire them. I really do. The lifestyle they've chosen is kind of a dream, actually. For a lot of people, it is a dream because they don't get a. I feel people get stale and resent life sometimes if they're in one spot too long. And I know a lot of people will go, huh? But if you stop and think about it, if you were born and raised in one town and you did vacations from time to time, but when I say from time to time, that could mean once a year, could mean once every 5 years. But I just, you don't get to experience a lot if you don't get to move around a lot. I have friends that say, well, Darrah, I travel a lot. I climb on an airplane every 2 to 3 weeks, fly to different towns and do stuff. And fair enough. But they miss out on so much flying. If you need to get somewhere quickly and the trip needs to take a day, maybe two at max, airplanes are great. Don't get me wrong, they're great. Drive to the airport, get there the same day, take your meeting or whatever it is, get back on the plane. You can even be home the same day in some cases. But when you're in an RV or a vehicle, you get out and you can drive and you can see the scenery, the landscapes, the little towns in between that you never knew existed. You can just pull in and take a few hours, or heck, you could even stay the night, and just enjoy life and everything to its fullest. And it just amazes me too that the cost of these RVs now. I was online earlier today looking at RVs. I was looking at used ones. And the used ones are just as scary as the brand new ones. Like I said earlier, I was looking at Class C motorhomes in order to maybe take this show on the road someday. When I say someday, I'm actually looking about a year and a half, 2 years down the road. So keep that in mind if you hear this and go, oh great. But if you would like me to come to your town, email me and say, hey Darrah, why don't you come to our town and set up and do an evening show somewhere? Who knows? Maybe someday I'll show up there and do an evening show somewhere. But like I said, I was looking at RVs online, or Class C motorhomes. And if they're any newer than 2000 to 2009, and yes, the 2009 is already out, you are still looking at anywhere between 25,000 on up to whatever your wildest imagination can take you to, which really blew my mind. I figured, okay, if I looked at a 2002, I could probably buy a nice used one for somewhere between 10,000, maybe 15. Yeah, keep dreaming, Darrah. Keep dreaming. So I started looking at little older ones. I found a Class C. I think it had a Ford engine in it. It was a 1995. Had about 70,000 miles on it, I think they said. They were actually wanting about 8,000 for it. I said, cool. For someone who's not really sure that they'd want to spend a lot of money on an RV, I think buying an older one would probably be a good test run for you, even if you only kept it 6 months to a year. It would give you enough insight to know if you wanted to really spend 60,000, 80,000, 90,000, 300,000. And you think I'm joking. If you've ever checked into RVs, you can buy a Class A, which is the bus style. Some of those are $500,000. Some of them are more than that. That's what's scary. At least it's scary to me. Like I said, you are listening to RadioVisions, and I am Darrah. And tonight we're trying out our new format, which is every Friday and Saturday night there will be a new topic. The topic may have nothing to do with what I do, which is doing psychic shows and psychic readings. The topic could be like it is tonight, on RVs and maybe hitting the road and traveling to city, which should be kind of fun. Other nights it will be about what I do. It will be about psychic readings. It will be about parties. It will be about the paranormal or the supernatural or the natural or whatever you'd like to call it. I personally don't think what I do is supernatural. I don't think what I do is paranormal. I think what I do is everyday life that everybody can do. So keep that in mind. What I do, you could do with a little practice and a little guidance. A lot of you can do it now and not realize it. So keep that in mind. And also, ta-da! Yes, also, as time goes on, we're going to add music. And I know I keep harping on this week after week after week, but we do need people to submit music. So if you have not done so yet and you would like to submit your original music, please print off a permission form, or a broadcasting form as it's called on the website. Print it off, fill it out, and send it back to me with a CD of your best music. We are currently looking for a specific type of music, and that is new age and cool or smooth jazz. But if you do something outside of those areas and you would like to submit it, please submit it anyway. You never know, we may fall in love with it here at RadioVisions and start broadcasting everything that's sent in. Who knows? So take a chance. Like I said, everybody that submits their own music with permission form, we will give you credit for doing it. We will announce who's doing what, who's playing what. If you're just like a regular radio station and DJ would, we will give you all the credit for it. And I have to keep saying that to reiterate that if you're having hesitations about sending your stuff in, please don't. Please send it in. We here at RadioVisions really need the music and the permission forms in order to start broadcasting music, because we want you to know that we're doing this legally on the up and up, and that we're not just buying albums at some radio store or at some record store and just playing whatever we feel we can play, and hopefully we won't get caught and busted. It's not the way we work here. We are a legitimate radio station, and we will do everything on the up and up. So, like I said, if you are an artist, even if you are a big name artist with hundreds of thousands of records or airtime on other radio stations, feel free to submit it to this one as well. We would like the input. So keep that in mind. And getting back to like what I was saying earlier, of possibly taking this on the road, I think it would be really fun. It would be something that would be entertaining, I think, to everybody. I know it would be entertaining to me because I like to travel. If you've been on the website and seen some of the places I've done shows, you'll understand I like to travel. I like to travel to any town here in my own state. I like to travel to any town out of my own state. I would eventually like to travel to other countries to do shows, but we'll take one step at a time and do what's here home first, And if you've just logged in, you are listening to RadioVisions, and I am Darrah. And tonight we are talking about our new format of each Friday and Saturday nights when we're live, we'll be talking about a different topic. The topics can be suggested by you, the listeners. So if you hear this and you want to suggest a topic, you can do it by IM and me, or if you hear this as a rebroadcast later, please feel free to email me and say, hey, caught the show, I liked it, didn't like it. Let us know either way, and let us know what kind of topics you'd like to hear. Because it's very important that we try different formats and different formulas to see what works and what doesn't. I know that if every Friday and Saturday night we did nothing but readings on the air or talked about seeing ghosts all the time, it would probably get boring for a lot of you. So that's why we want to keep this different and fresh. And please feel free at any time during the live shows that if you would like to have a reading done, just IM me and say, hey, I'm interested in a reading, can you help me? And I would more than likely say, sure, let's do it. So keep that in mind no matter what the topic is for the week, for the day. Please don't feel that I'm not going to do readings, because I'll do readings anytime for anybody that logs in and requests one. That's why we're here. I'm here for you so we can all have fun. So keep that in mind as well, okay? But getting back to traveling on the road. So as I was saying, I was trying to find an RV today online just to look at the prices. And some of the ones that are used that are in the from about 1978 to about 95, you can find them priced anywhere from about $2,500 to about $8,000. Now you get anything newer between 96 and today, evidently they hold their values pretty well because they're still asking 10,000 or more, it seems. Which, to be honest with you, I would love to be able to go out to an RV dealership and say I want that one and buy a brand new one. But this is the approach I'm coming from. If I buy an RV, I want to live in it full time. So I would buy the RV, get rid of the homestead. What wouldn't fit in the RV, I would sell off. Because I'd hate to put it in storage and have to have a payment for storage for stuff that I would probably not use maybe in the next 5 or 10 years. That'd be a lot of storage money, wouldn't it? And I know people that have done that with storages. I want to go put this in storage for a while, and they buy a storage unit that's $100 a month. And they go, it ain't bad, it's $100 a month. Well, now they've had the storage unit for the last 15 years, and it's still $100 a month. I just don't get it. I mean, in the past I've had storage units. Don't get me wrong, but it's only been for 6 months at a time usually, because I was moving out of one place or into a new place, and one was bigger or smaller than the other, and it was temporary anyway. That's why it was only about 6 months. And in those cases, storage units are great, wonderful. But I can't imagine buying a storage unit to keep for years and years and years and years. I suppose if you were a business and had a lot of inventory that you couldn't keep on your own personal property or in your own personal store, a storage unit might come in handy. But outside of that, as many individuals that have them just to hold, we'll just call it stuff, is amazing. I don't understand it, but it's amazing. So kudos to them if that's where they want to spend their money. I think I'd have better places to spend it. But like I said, getting back to my story, if I bought the RV, I'd want to buy one, sell the house, pack up what I could to take with me. The rest of it would be sold off. Would have a big estate sale or garage sale, whatever you'd like to call it. Then I'd hit the road. I think since I live in Kansas, from Kansas I'd like to go to Colorado. Then from Colorado maybe into New Mexico. New Mexico sounds like a great state. I've never stayed in New Mexico long enough to know anything. I've drove through it a few times over the years. I've flown over it, I know, more times than I can count. And this way, if you go in, you'll be able to get on the show, drive through the state, see what's really there. Then from New Mexico, who knows, maybe stay a week there, do a couple metaphysical fairs, move on to the next one. I think that would be interesting. That'd be fun. And from there, and I don't know why, and this is going to sound crazy to some of you, and some of you will say, well, I live there, so it's not crazy. I'd also like to maybe check out Arizona. Who knows, I might stay in Arizona for a while. Just one of those states that has caught my interest sometimes, and I can't tell you why, because I know the summer months get get hotter than it does here in Kansas most of the time, which if you were born and raised in Arizona, or if you've lived in Arizona for, let's say, the past 10, 15 years, it's probably no big deal. But to the outsiders that are passing through or just visiting or moved there to stay because of work or whatever other reasons, I can see it taking a while to get used to. That would be interesting, you know? So I just like to try to figure out how that works and how that doesn't work and play that game one step at a time. Then moving on from Arizona, I would eventually, in all honesty, like to eventually start moving north. I'd like to end up in the state of Washington. I get to see myself living in the state of Washington. If you've never been there, the state of Washington is awesome. When I was younger, I used to go up there from time to time, and when I say time to time, I don't mean real often. Maybe once every 5 to 6 years. But I had relatives there, that's why I was going, and loved to see them. Always loved to see relatives. Great fun. But it always thought it'd be fun to live in the great city of Seattle. But who knows? If I had an RV or my Class C motorhome that I was living in full time and putting around the country, that might be kind of cool. Live there and do what I could, just enjoy the scenery, enjoy the people, enjoy the lush beauty of what nature gave it. And if you've been in Kansas before, you know that we do not have mountains. We do have something called the Flint Hills, which they're just not mountains. Don't get me wrong. They're beautiful. They're interesting. They're cool. But they're just not mountains. Even driving over to Colorado, far enough to see mountains from Kansas, or from Wichita, Kansas, is a good 8-hour drive, and that's just to see them. Then it's probably another good 4 or 5 hours from that point to really be there and see them, and be on them. So it's just kind of crazy, I know. But that's what I'd like to do, is buy an RV, a motorhome, live in it, travel around, do shows. When I say do shows, I am thinking more along the lines of the metaphysical fairs, the Ren fairs. I enjoy that kind of thing. And I think a lot of you out there that are listening like going to those things. Because it's kind of fun to go where there's a gathering of people that do readings. And that's a good way to sample a lot of different styles of readings, is at metaphysical fairs. Due to the fact that my style is so different from so many other readers I know, that it's just odd to think that I read charms out of a little bag and some of them read strictly nothing but tarot cards. And I also read playing cards, but they strictly read nothing but tarot cards. And I also just read people with no tools, because the playing cards, the charms, the tarot cards, all of them are tools that we use. But I also like just doing readings flat out for people, about people, from the aura I see around you to the entities that are hovering around you. And I enjoy that just as much, if not more, doing it that way than I do using the tools. The tools are just a way to open doors for people, to be honest. And I understand that it's real addictive to want to use the tools all the time if you're a reader, especially if you're a new reader. And when I mean new reader, you've always known you had the ability to read people, but now you're wanting to do it on a professional level. If you're new at it, please keep in mind that it is really easy to lean really heavily on your tools. I'm not saying don't give your tools up altogether, but switch back and forth so you can get a feel for everything. Because I personally think that makes you a better reader. And if there's any other readers out there that are listening to this and you would like to swap stories or swap tool ideas and stuff like that, please feel free to email me or even call me. I would love to get together with you and swap stories and swap tool ideas based on what you do and what I do and what other people do. I even heard of a person that reads paper, and they said it's kind of like reading palms. They'd take a piece of paper, have the person wad it up, then they would unfold it, and they would read the lines in the paper like they would the lines in someone's hand. That was always fascinating to me. I've never tried it, but I would like to see someone do it. If you do that and you are a reader that's happened to be listening, please email me, let me know. Call me on the phone, let me know. So getting back to traveling, if you are a full-time RVer, or even if you're an RVer on the weekends or only 2 weeks out of the year, send me an email. Give me some first-hand knowledge of what it's really like. Because right now I've got the idea of this RV lifestyle in my head. And as far as I know, it's one of the coolest lifestyles I've heard about. And is what really got me interested in RVs. And this was well over 25 years ago. Yeah, I said well over 25 years, I know. But when I was in grade school, I found a book at Target one day. It was called Rolling Homes. And it was basically homemade motorhomes. People had taken an old Chevy pickup truck and tore it all down and built a camper on the back of it from the ground up. Or they took a bus and they converted it into a motorhome. And some of these were so elaborate that they had stained glass windows in them, hardwood floors, actual working wood burning stoves in them. Don't get me wrong, some of these vehicles, when they were said and done for homemade vehicles, were beautiful. The people that had took the time to salvage old stained glass windows and old antique doors and doorknobs and resalvaged wood and made it from the ground up knew what they were doing. It was just so cool. They were beautiful. And if these vehicles still exist today, which I hope they do, because in this book called Rolling Homes, they were wonderful to look at. And today, if they still exist, they could probably fetch a pretty penny, or a whole lot of pretty pennies. So, to those builders that are out there, if you still own your creations, keep a hold of them. Enjoy them. So, but that's what I'd like to do. I would like to own a motorhome. I would like to travel this great country of ours. Who knows, maybe even take it into one of the neighboring countries. Canada, Mexico. And keep going from there, who knows. Possibilities are endless. If you're just joining us, you're listening to RadioVisions, and I am Darrah. And we've been here for about 2 weeks now. And I would like to thank everybody that has been putting up with all the technical difficulties we have been trying to work through. I know for well over a week that our broadcasting really was not broadcasting. And I do apologize for that. If you've been onto the website numerous times and try to click on the links and nothing had happened, I greatly apologize, because everything from our tech end here says we were up and running and broadcasting as usual. Come to find out that we were only broadcasting in our own network. Yes, my face was red. I didn't see that one coming, but that's what had happened, so I do apologize. So keep in mind, if you're listening to this later on, or even if you're out there now listening, that is what happened. We had a malfunction in IP addresses, and it was just looping it around through our own network and not out into the world and the universe like we were hoping. But it should be now. It should be running everywhere. So, like I said, please forgive us, since this is a brand new startup radio station. We're working through our growing pains just like any other startup company, and we do apologize for any inconvenience for you for taking the time to log on and not being able to actually hear anything. I do apologize. Now, if you're just tuning in, you are listening to RadioVisions. This is Darrah, and we are broadcasting live every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. If you would like to have a reading done, please IM me, and we do readings live on the air. And like the website says now, that every Friday and Saturday night there will be a new topic. And the topic might be paranormal, might be supernatural, might be about everyday life. But one thing you can be sure of, it will not be the same every time. It might be about why I do readings, how I got started. It might be about the pros and cons of drinking Diet Dr. Pepper versus drinking Dr. Pibb or Mr. Pibb or anything else along those lines, okay? Like I said, we just want to keep this open, fresh, and interesting for everybody. And as time goes on, we will get music posted, as I keep promising people. But in order to do this, I need people to send me their music. So we are currently looking for artists and musicians who would like to submit their original work for airing on RadioVisions. We are currently looking for music in the areas of New Age, smooth and cool jazz. And if you do work outside of those two areas, feel free to submit that as well. Just because it might be pop or rock or country or anything else, that doesn't mean that. And if you'd like to submit it and see if it makes it to the airwaves, that'd be great. Please do so. But in order to submit anything, New Age, jazz, smooth jazz, anything, we will need a broadcasting form accompanying the CD you send us. So please feel free to send us that CD, that broadcasting form, filled out completely, please. And as soon as we get enough music sent in, we will start shuffling through this and start playing music. But as of right now, we've only got a handful of people that have submitted music, and we would like well more than that before we start playing it. So keep that in mind. If you were on the website earlier today or last week and said, hey, there's no music on there, please bear with us, because as soon as we get enough to really start streaming the music together and working with it, we will. And I would highly encourage you to send us your music. Or if you know somebody that produces music themselves, they're in a band, they're a solo singer, they make it at home on their computer, whatever the case may be, please let them know that we are out here. We are looking for music. We would like a nice variety of music, but like I said, we were starting out with New Age and cool jazz for right now. But that does not mean that's the formats we will stick with permanently. So keep that in mind as well. And tonight's topic was motorhomes or RVs. And if you own one, please get in touch with me. I'd like to know some more of the ins and outs of motorhomes, RVs, the pros and the cons. Because as of now, no matter who I talk to, they always give me the pros. Very few people are honest with me with the cons. So I'm just curious, like, on certain things like the battery life in an RV. Does that last an hour? Do the batteries last 12 hours, before you have to recharge them again? And how does that work in conjunction with the generator that you may or may not have? Most RVs that I've been looking at and seeing have generators built into them now. So when the batteries are not in use and the RV is using the generator, does that mean the generator is also recharging the batteries at the same time? So when you needed the batteries, they'd be there? Or is that something that I'd have to go out and figure out totally separate, Because before I make any life-altering changes, I'd like to know the pros and cons of RVs, motorhomes. I would also like to, I'd like to live in one full time. So if you're just joining us, that is our topic, is RV living with Darrah. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I came to this website hoping to get a psychic reading. Well, guess what? You still can. You just have to send me an instant message. Let me know what you would like me to look at for you, and I'd be happy to. Because we have different topics every night doesn't mean we can't still do readings. So if you'd like your reading done, all you have to do is get on and let me know you're out there. Give me a reading. Say, please give me a reading, mister. Kind of sounds like Mardi Gras, doesn't it? Hey, mister, throw me some beads. Give me a reading while you're at it. Funny, I know. That's what it's all about, is having a good time. That's why we're here. That's why you're out there, having a good time. Now, like I mentioned earlier, during the holiday season that's coming up rapidly, like starting next week, the Friday and Saturday night schedule might change. It might not even be live, so we'll just be rebroadcasting a past show. But if Friday and Saturday nights are not working for you as an individual, but you would like to tune into a live episode, let me know what night might work for you. Would it be better if, instead of doing Friday and Saturday nights, if we were doing Mondays and Wednesday nights, or Tuesdays and Wednesday nights? Let me know that schedule too. Let me know how it works out. Like I said, we are a startup company. I am just taking this as stride as we go. Trying to figure out all the ins and outs and all that fun stuff. So the more input that you, the listeners, can give me, the better off we can make this. And that's what it's really about, making this something really nice that everybody that would like to could log on, click in, listen to this to relax with, listen to this just to get through the day. And that's kind of what I really hope for this radio station, is it to become something for you. So keep that in mind as well. And like I said earlier, I'm still looking for people who have lived in RVs full time or almost full time. So you can give me the ins and the outs of what it's really like to live in an RV. Like I said, I would prefer a travel trailer myself, but lately I've been looking at motorhomes due to the fact that my current vehicle isn't really big enough to power or pull a trailer. So I figured, since the vehicle I have is relatively new, or at least new to me, I would like to keep it for a while and maybe buy a motorhome that would be big enough to just pull my vehicle, so whenever I got somewhere I wouldn't have to uproot the home every time, so I could just unhitch my vehicle and take my vehicle around town or the mountains or the desert or wherever I happen to end up. And give me your input on that too. If you prefer to do it that way, or if you prefer the travel trailers where you can go in and just unhitch them, then they're there, then you can use the vehicle as whatever. That's because to me originally I thought just having a trailer would be the best because you get more bang for your buck in your trailers, I think. But the motorhomes will probably be the way I go, just in order to keep everything simple for me right now. Because I don't want to have to go buy a trailer, then go buy a new vehicle, then go. Just be easier to go buy one vehicle that I can live in, pull the vehicle I own, and do live shows, like I said, which would be really fun for everybody. So keep that in mind. Like I said, this is all new to me, and if you've done this for a while, please let me know. I'd appreciate it very much. And getting back on to other things, one of the big things I've always wanted about motorhomes, how easy are they really to drive? Everybody tells me, oh, they're easy. You just get in and drive. It's no big deal. Well, I'm not used to driving a real big Jeep. Jeep. That's what I drive now is a Jeep, a real big vehicle. And I was just curious on, going from a four-wheel drive all-terrain Jeep to something that was about 3 times as long and twice as high. What is the real pros and cons there? Is it really difficult? Is it really not difficult? Is it a piece of cake like everybody's telling me? Because all these RV dealers go, oh yeah, these are easy to drive. Don't worry about it. Just jump in and go, basically. And I'm like, yeah, you've got to be quite studious, I would think, to drive a 20-foot or a 30-foot or even a 35-foot motorhome, because your right turns and your left turns are going to be so much different than a standard vehicle. You can't take those turns real sharp like you'd be used to in a standard vehicle. You got to really think about it, in my opinion. I know those out there who have probably driven RVs or used trailers for many a year now probably think, what's he talking about? They're easy to drive. No big deal. Well, that could be true. No big deal. But when you're not used to it, it is a big deal. Trust me. Everything's new. Everything's wonderful. Yeah, keep that in mind. So, like I said, you are listening to RadioVisions, and I am Darrah. And we do live broadcasts every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. Central Time. And remember, we still need people to submit their original music for airing on RadioVisions, so we can get the music section of this up and running. We've had a lot of people with interest and intent to send us stuff, but as of yet, only a handful of you have. So please send us something. I know our website says we are looking for new age and cool jazz and smooth jazz, but if you do something outside of those areas, please submit it, because we would be happy to take a listen to it, and if we like it, we'll air it. As simple as that. And you can't beat that, can you? So just let us know what you do. And you don't have to be a professional musician to submit your work. You can be a professional if you like, or you can just be starting. If your audio recordings are good, that's all that really matters. Regardless if you make them with a 200-piece orchestra, or if you made them using your computer in your office or den at home. It does not matter. We would like to get your stuff. We would like to hear it. We would like to air it. So keep that in mind as well. Now, how many people out there have actually lived in an RV? Because that's tonight's topic, is motorhomes. And like I said earlier, I would like to eventually live in a motorhome full time. And no, I am not crazy. There are hundreds of thousands of people doing it every year. And I would just like to do that lifestyle for a while, is what I'd like to do. So that's why we're talking about this tonight. having a great time. Everybody's out there listening. And if you're out there listening, you would still like to have a reading done tonight, don't hesitate. Send me an instant message and I will switch over to you and we'll start your reading to help you out in whatever aspect of your life that needs help. Or even if it's a friend's life, we can get you all set and going in the right direction. But going back to the RVs, how many people that do RVing has ever been to a place called Slab City out in California? I was made aware of this place maybe a year ago. I've never been there. I've looked at the pictures online. There's a little bit of video online about it. That is a interesting place, let me tell you, from what I gather. All walks of life go there, it seems like, sooner or later. People that just go there during the winter months. They're called snowbirds. The people that live there full time, which I guess at any given time there are so-called full-time people living there, ranging from just about 25 to 50 to maybe 100. Which is interesting, going back to what I was saying earlier about the heat, because that part of California, I understand, gets pretty toasty during the summer months. So, more power to all you people that live there full time. I admire you. I'd like to visit Slab City at least once in my life and just see what it was really all about firsthand, because it sounds like a cool place to go. I know some of the people that live in the neighboring towns may not think so, but that's life, we can't make everybody happy. So, it's just the way it is. And if you're a full-time RVer, I would like some input from you, please. Send me emails chronicling your adventures in your RV. And who knows, we might get some of those little excerpts out of there and post them online. Who knows? That'd be kind of fun. But like I said, we're trying different formats for the talk radio version of this show, and every Friday and Saturday night while we're here live, we're going to start with different topics ranging from the paranormal to everyday life to why so-and-so got kicked off so-and-so reality show. How's that? Like I said, we just want to make it a little more interesting and well-rounded for everybody that's listening. So we don't want to just make it specifically about one thing and one thing only. I think that would get a little tedious even for us here that would enjoy that. So keep that in mind as well, that we're not just all about one thing and one thing only. And if you would like to suggest topics that you would like us to eventually get to and talk about, please suggest them. Send us an email saying, hey, I've got an idea for a topic. And email that to us as well. That could be kind of cool. So keep that in mind. Like I said, in the past few weeks, we've been having some technical difficulties with our system. Because like I said earlier, our system would be saying we were up and running at this end, which in fact we really weren't, so we never knew anything was wrong for quite a while, and I want to apologize for that. Like I said, this is all brand new to us here, and it's just a matter of getting our server and our IP address and all that fun stuff to actually talk to each other instead of fighting with each other. But I think we've got that situated. So I'd also like to say that if you can actually hear me, I'd like to hear from you as well, saying, hey, send me an instant message, send me an email saying, hey, I heard the show. Even if you listen to it through the rebroadcasting, please let me know. I just would really like to know that somebody out there in the world is hearing this. So, like I said, we were talking about motorhomes tonight and living in them full time. I'd like to hear from you if you live in a motorhome full time, or even if you only live in it a few weeks out of the year. Tell me the pros and cons. Is it really easy to do? How many concessions will I have to make and give up on stuff that I normally would now? Because now I understand that, you know, we have dirty clothes now. I just walk over to my own laundry room and do laundry. I understand the aspect that if I'm buying a Class C motorhome like the ones I've been looking at in the last few days, I would have to give up my laundry facilities, and I think I could do that. I used to live in an apartment at one point in time. I used to have to go to the laundry facility anyway. So I personally don't think that would be too much of a drag. I know some people think that's the most horrible thing in the world to have to do is go to a laundromat. To me, I can do it if I had to. No big deal. And like I said, is that the only downside to it? Or are there other downsides that no one's willing to talk to you about? So let me know what the downsides are. I would really appreciate it. Okay, I'm back. Had to get a little liquid refreshment. My throat was getting a little sticky there. So I had a moment of silence to get a little liquid refreshment. And yes, it is water. How dare you think it could be something else? Shame on you. So tonight's topic is living in full time in a motorhome. How many of you out there have dreamed about jumping in a motorhome and hitting the open roads and seeing where it leads you? If you have had that dream, I share that dream with you. Because I think that would be just a wonderful lifestyle. And yes, it is a lifestyle. It is not anything else in between. It is a lifestyle. It is something you have to commit yourself to, I understand. It's like living in a 60-bedroom apartment, which at that standard, can you really call it an apartment? Or living in a one-room apartment. It's just a lifestyle change that you have to say you're going to do and go do it. And since my current home isn't all that big, I think moving into an RV would be no big deal for me. I am going to wait at least another year to year and a half before I even purchase an RV because I still have children living at home with me. So, and I know that they wouldn't probably appreciate that. So I'm going to give them their time to at least get out of high school and get them moving on into the direction they need to be going. And then I'll be having the time to think about myself, what I would like. And I think that's the direction I'm going in. Because like I said, I'd like to move out of the state of Kansas anyway, so what better way to do it is to buy a portable home and see where it takes you. So I guess really instead of calling tonight's topic motorhomes or RV living, we should have called it dreams. Might have fit in a little better. I don't know. But that's where we were. And like I said, if you're out there and you've lived in an RV, send us your story. Send me your story. Let me know how it was. How much you enjoyed it. How much you hated it. How much did you enjoy it but your spouse not like it, or your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whoever your significant other was at the time, or if you both loved it to death. Let me know that as well. Like I said, you are listening to RadioVisions. I am Darrah, and we are broadcasting live every Friday and Saturday nights between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m. And we would like to eventually add music to this site, so if you are an artist, a musician, a synthesize worker of wonders, please submit your original work. to RadioVisions. Go to the website, print off the broadcasting permission form, mail it back to Darrah with a CD of of your music. And as soon as we can get this processed into the computer system, we would be happy to start streaming all this wonderful audio that we're getting. But we need more of it before we can really start broadcasting it. Because, like I said, we've just got a handful of people that have sent us stuff, and we need more than that. We need way more than just a handful of people. I know you're out there. I know you've been looking at the website, so please submit your stuff. Because we can't do nothing without you. Because the whole idea of this radio station was to make it a station for the people. Not a station of, well, we need people to buy $80,000 worth of advertising space before we can do anything. I don't want to have to go there. I will in order to keep it alive, but I really would rather not. And most of you may have noticed in the past week that we are starting to place ads on the website itself. And when we are doing that, because we need to try to generate a little money to keep the website up and running. So if you're cruising through the website, please check out those other people out there that have their links on our website. Because without them, we would probably not have this website up and running, doing live internet talk radio. So keep that in mind as well. Like I said, tonight's topic was really RV living, motorhomes, travel trailers, campers. And what is your favorite? For those of you listening out there, what is your favorite way to RV live? Is it a camper? Is it a motorhome? Is it a travel trailer? Or are you just a hardcore camper, which no matter what you do, you just take a tent, call it good? I've been camping many a time that way. Many a time. Go out, pitch tent. That's all there was. Just a tent, you, and a fire that you made to cook with. I enjoy camping that way very much. But since I wanted to do this as a full-time thing, I figured a motorhome would be the best route for me at this point in time. And like I said, I would like to eventually get a motorhome, get it set up so we could actually probably broadcast the radio show live from the motorhome. Then we could do traveling shows. I think that would be also a very cool option to do. Traveling shows in the motorhome. Woo-woo! So, pull into a town, set up, start broadcasting shows. Which, to be honest, I'm not for sure if I can really honestly do and keep something online 24/7. If we were just doing shows at specific times, like on Fridays and Saturdays, and everything was live all the time, I could do that. That would be a no-brainer. But in order to do it and travel, I really don't think that's a possible scenario. I could be wrong, and if you think I'm wrong, let me know that I'm wrong. I like all of your input. And yes, this is new to me, so any and all input about what you've heard tonight would be greatly appreciated, regardless how small or how big, how right or how wrong. Send me that input. Send it email. Make sure I get it. So, but like I said, I could see myself living in an RV, pulling into town, finding the nearest RV park or campsite by the coolest looking lake in the state. That'd be cool too. You know, think about it. You're in an RV. You get to travel anywhere you want with it. Your front door could be some of the most coolest locations in the United States, or on the face of this planet for that matter. And you could stay there for as long as you wanted. You could pull into a RV park that's next to the Grand Canyon and have that view every morning as you step out or look out your windows. How cool would that be? That'd be really cool. Or you could be in the state of Wyoming or Montana or Washington. Look out and see mountains and forests and lakes and the ocean and everything else in between. How cool would that be for us that don't get to see that all the time? I think that'd be extremely cool. So keep that in mind as well, that your locations can change whenever you get bored with them. And like so many of us now that own our homes, that location don't change. You have the same view day in, day out, forever. Don't get me wrong. I like my neighbors, like them just fine, but that doesn't mean I always want to see the same view every day. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. And you are listening to RadioVisions. This is Darrah, and we'd like to welcome you to November 21st, 2008, Friday night. And if you're just tuning in, you are getting to catch in the middle of our new topic nights, which every Friday and Saturday nights now the topics will change. Some nights it might be about the paranormal. Some nights it might be just strictly readings and nothing else but readings. Other nights it's just everyday life. Some nights it might be about the wants of what people do and don't do. And so on and so forth. So keep that in mind too. And remember that no matter what the topic is for the night, if you want a reading done live, just send me an instant message. I'd be happy to curb the topic for long enough to give you a reading, regardless if it only takes 5 minutes or if it takes 25 minutes or if it takes an hour. I'm here to help you, and this is your radio station. So give me feedback on stuff that you would like to see changed, you would like to see stay the same, or anything they're combinations of. If you would like to see more nights with live broadcasting, or for that matter, if you'd like to see no nights of live broadcasting, let me know that as well. But we're here just to try to get things going for you, to have fun, bang everything out we can to make it entertaining, fun, because this is a broadcast for everybody, the whole family. This is nothing anybody would be ashamed of saying, hey, I listened to the show, you should go listen to it. So keep that in mind as well. And like I said, tonight's topic started out being about RVs and motorhomes and hitting the open road and doing whatever we wanted, living the dream of being free. So I still think that would be one of the coolest sensations there is, knowing that tonight you might be in Chicago and in 12 hours from now you might be in some other location you never knew existed. To me, that's very appealing. Don't know why, but that's very appealing to me. Just to travel, to wander, to have a good time. So, like I said, I've been looking at RVs lately again. And the scenario that I'm probably formulating in my head as we speak is that I will probably have to buy a used one to start with. And here, why don't you guys tell me this? You that are out there listening, would you buy a used motorhome? Give me why you would and why you wouldn't. And then give me If you bought a used motorhome, would you buy it from an individual in your community that was selling one? Or would you buy it strictly from a dealership? So that's something to kind of think about. Would you buy it from a dealership? Maybe. I bought my last vehicle from a dealership. So, possibilities there. Would I buy it from an individual in order to save some money? Maybe. Maybe not. So, it depends on a lot of different factors, in my opinion. If I was limited to the funds have available, I would certainly consider buying it from an individual if it was cheaper, providing that the vehicle was in great shape, or even good shape if the price was right. It has to be running. It has to be all aspects have to be working. And if there's some minor cosmetic details about a used vehicle, I could probably overlook that. I'm sure a lot of you could, depending on what they were. And then the other side of that would be going to a dealership and buying a used one from a dealership. Now, the only downside to buying it from a dealership is that the dealerships tend to charge a little bit more for their services, which is no big deal. I understand they have to. It's a business. They have to make their ends meet. But I guess my question is, does it really make a difference? Because some dealerships say this is a certified vehicle. What does that really mean? A certified vehicle? That they bought the vehicle and now they own it? Or does it mean that they bought the vehicle, they have actually been through it head to toe and know for a fact that everything works the way it should? Or is it just smoke and mirrors in order to get you to buy a vehicle? I would like to think that if they said it was a certified vehicle, that they actually went through it from one end to the other and everything on it works. That's what I'd like to think. I would also pay a little bit more. Keyword there, little more, if that was really the case. Because coming from the background I'm coming from, I know really nothing about RVs at this point. So if I was buying a used one from an individual and he told me, oh yeah, the hot water tank works, at the time I might just go with what he said and say, great. Come to find out 6 weeks later or 2 days later and 100,000 miles away from home. I know that's an unrealistic number, but that's the number that came out. That the hot water tank really don't work. What's that cost to get fixed? Is it $300 or is it $3,000? I'd kind of like to know those kind of questions as well. So, like I said, for you veteran RVers out there, please log in. Let me know what's going on. Tell me about the good times. Tell me about the bad times. Tell me about all the times in between. And for you techno people that are out there listening, tell me if doing a live radio show from a moving vehicle or an RV would even be possible. And keeping it cheap enough that a standard person could do it. I'd like to think that sure, anybody could do it. But since I don't really know 100%, and I just hate taking guesses saying, oh, this will work, then throw it all together and find out it don't work. That I think would be a little more depressing than living that dream of, it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work, when no matter what you do, it don't work. So, I'd also like to just keep that in mind. It's just kind of silly, kind of crazy, but that's the way life is at times, it's silly and crazy. But tell me about what you guys don't like about RVs as well. Because some of the stories I've heard is people saying, well, the beds aren't that comfortable, or I own an RV and we don't take it very often because we find traveling and staying in hotels is better. Well, comfortable wise, maybe, maybe not. But to me, if you're in your own vehicle or your own motorhome, it's your home. So you can pull in and you can eat dinner at any restaurant in town you like, or you can pull in and eat dinner in your own home. You know, depends on your budgeting and stuff, kind of like buying a new or used. And what would be a good used price for an RV? Anybody know? Like I said, I'm finding stuff as old as 77, 78 to about 95, 96 to be priced between, I've seen them as low as 2,500 to about 8,000. And I don't know what makes what worth that. So I know if it's tore up what it would be, in my opinion, but if it was in good to great condition, is that a good price? Is it a bad price? Give me your thoughts on that. Because I always appreciate doing people who can help me out, because I like helping people out myself. If you're in a stalled vehicle, I'll pull over, help you push it to the next point, or give you a ride somewhere so you can get to where you need to be going. Now, earlier I was talking about something called rolling homes, where people have made custom motorhomes. What do you think? What do you guys think about those custom motorhomes, or taking a current motorhome or bus and converting some of it into something a little cooler? Like I've seen some of the VW camper vans that used to be really popular in the 50s and 60s. They're making a comeback, and I've seen a lot of people that have them painted up with the peace signs and the flowers and all that on the sides of them. Would you do that to your vehicle? Would you paint peace signs all over it, or some other emblem of some kind all over it in all sorts of different colors? Would you do that? I think I might. I mean, I don't know if I would, but I'd like to think have an open enough mind to say it could be a possibility. Because those vehicles always stand out, and I always thought that'd be kind of fun having. But in a motorhome, do you really want your vehicle to stand out? I mean, that's another thing I was worrying about. Since if I own a motorhome, are break-ins and robberies in motorhomes, campers, and stuff like that higher than in a standard home? Or are they about the same? I have owned a auto vehicle now for well over 20 some years. And when I was in my late teens, I had a vehicle broken into 2 or 3 times, but that was just a teenager at the time taking out frustrations on my car every 2 to 3 weeks after I replaced all the windows. Yeah, that was a fun time. The window place loved me, but that's the only time I've ever had anybody break into a vehicle. And they didn't take anything, they were just breaking the windows. So my question is, do RVs and campers and travel trailers, are they more of a target for people, or are they not? That's something I don't know. That's something I'd like to know. I'd also like to know about RV insurance and motorhome insurance. So if you got any information on that, send that my way as well. Does Geico's new RV and motorhome insurance really cover everything it needs to cover? And I don't know how that works either. If you live in your motorhome full time and you buy full coverage insurance on it, at this time, I don't care what company it is, you buy full coverage insurance on it. What does that really cover? Would that cover an incident of it being broken into and my personal effects were stolen? Or would the insurance company tell me, well, no, the insurance only covers if you wreck it or if someone wrecks into you? And then my thought would be, would that be worth it? Because I'm sure insurance is not cheap on any vehicle, but it's probably a little more expensive for an RV. So if you know some pros and cons in that, or if you know who the best insurance company would be to go through on an RV, let me know that one. That might help me save some money. Because the whole point of living in an RV, other than thinking it would be cool, would be, is it a cheap way to live? If you could live cheaply anyway, anyhow, for an extended period of time, I think it would be in a motorhome or a travel trailer. Because once it's paid off, you no longer have a house payment, basically. So let's say you bought a used one, it cost you $8,000, and you didn't have $8,000 in cash to pay for it, you still had to go get a loan. Well, $8,000 on a vehicle loan, let's say you financed it for 3 years. Them some pretty cheap house payments, don't you think? I think so. Cheaper than what I have now. Then after 3 years, you no longer have a house payment. That's just money going into your pocket or going into the fund of fix this RV in case it breaks down, or into the fund of let's be looking at the next RV, the bigger and the badder one. So to me that would be a plus. A lot of people say, well, what about in 30 more years when you're an older gentleman and you want to sell your house and live on what the house is worth then? I guess that's one way to look at life, is you bought your house hopefully as a young person, live in it all your life, and then sell it when you're older because you can't take care of that big of a house, blah blah blah. Sell it, get a place smaller, and pocket the rest to live on. I can see a lot of people doing that this day and age. But in an RV, it would probably have depreciated enough you couldn't do that with. But living cheaply right now seems to be the big catchphrase for everybody. And I think living in a motorhome, you can live really cheap. I don't care if it only gets 12 miles to the gallon. I think you could live cheaply in a motorhome and be quite comfortable. I could. I personally think wholeheartedly I could live in an RV full time. Regardless if I was living in a RV park, living at a lake, living on 20 acres of land out in the middle of nowhere that I bought real cheap somewhere. Any of those scenarios sound appealing to me, and I really can't tell you why it does, but it does. And that's why I would like to ask people to listen to this and give me the pros and cons if you own an RV. Like I said, I'd like to think about maybe taking this radio show out on the road sometime. I think that would be cool. It would be interesting anyway, in my opinion. And right now I think that's what matters for my life, is my opinion. Just like what matters in your life is your opinion and how you need to fulfill your opinion of your life. And that is always important to keep in mind, that no matter what lifestyle you've chosen, and when I mean lifestyle, I mean you're living in an RV full time, you're living in a house full time, you're living in an apartment full time, you're living in a condo full time. Those are different lifestyles. And if someone has tried to tell you they're not, trust me, they are. Coming from someone that has lived in houses and apartments and apartments, they are. I've also lived in a manufactured home or a mobile home. They are all different lifestyle choices that are very different from each other. And in order to do it is your mindset. So that's why I think living in an RV is just that, is just a mindset. Something you would have to tell yourself that this is how life is going to be and just go do it. Because once you convince yourself that's how life is going to be, life gets so much easier. I mean, so much easier. So keep that in mind as well. Because I always do. And moving forward, going back to why we were here, this is RadioVisions, and you are listening to Darrah every Friday and Saturday nights from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. We are trying out a new format tonight, which is called Pick a Topic. I really don't know what to call it as of yet, but every Friday and Saturday night we'll have a new topic. It might be about strictly doing nothing but readings all night long. It might be about the paranormal in general. It might be about why Bigfoot is a lot better mythical creature than the abominable snowman. It could be about anything. As you're finding out tonight, if you just tuned in and going, why are we talking about motorhomes? Is this not Visions by Darrah? Yes, this is Visions by Darrah. Like I said, we're just trying out some new formats, see which ones work, which ones don't. And if you decide you don't like the different topic each night format, please let me know that. I would appreciate it greatly. And try to figure out what we can do to make this more interesting on the nights we do have live stuff. Or if you would like to get rid of the live part of this altogether, that would be great too. But in order to do that, I would need everybody out there who produces their own music to send it to me. So please submit your own original work for airing on RadioVisions. We are looking for music in the area of new age and smooth and cool jazz for right now. If you would like to submit your work, please print off the broadcasting permission form and return it to me, Darrah, along with your audio CD. And as soon as we get enough of them into the computer system, we will start filtering them through the server and broadcasting them. So keep that in mind. This is a very slow process, and we've only got a handful of people that have submitted so far. So we need lots more to make this work. And I would appreciate it for all of you out there that really gets us up and running with us. Because it would help you as an artist as well as us as a radio station. Because you are giving me and RadioVisions the material to air, and as we're airing that, other people are hearing your stuff that might not otherwise ever hear it. Because if you're in a small town, or a big town for that matter, and never really leave that town, so you're playing the same venues over and over again, only a certain percentage of people are hearing you. At least here on RadioVisions, you are potentially being heard by the world. And that's the beauty of radio stations and the internet. The internet has taken the radio station so many steps further than what it used to be. Because it used to be your local radio stations were all you had. Then someone developed syndicating, and so they would do a show and relay it through one radio station into the next radio station into the next radio station, and that way certain shows can be heard nationwide and even worldwide doing that. Then satellites came around, and that got a lot easier. And now you can do live radio stations from any point of the world and beyond. And that's what we're doing here on the internet. Doing radio stations from any point of the world and beyond. So keep that in mind. So if you're an artist and you would like the possibility of the world hearing your work, please submit your stuff. We'll get it on the air as soon as we get enough audio CDs to do so. So bear with us and keep in mind that this is a slow process and I'm working as fast as I can to make it happen. So keep that in mind. And like I said, tonight's topic was motorhome living or RV living full time. And if you own an RV or a travel trailer or even a camper and you live in it more often than not, I'm not saying you have to be a full timer, but you live in it more often than not, please send me an email stating the pros and the cons of living in an RV full time. Because like I said earlier, if you're just joining us, tonight's topics were motorhomes and RVs and full-time living in them. I've read all the articles online. I've listened to the dealers here locally saying, oh, you could do it in this one, you could do it in that one. There's no problems whatsoever in living in them full-time, blah, blah, blah. I just really want to know if that's true. So I want people that have done it to get a hold of me through emails and let me know what you think the pros and cons are. What style of RVs have you had in the past, or have you only owned one and that's it? How much does it cost to keep an RV up and running? Is it, besides the standard maintenance of a gasoline engine or a diesel engine, what other major maintenance issues are there? I know there's the possibility of freezing in the winter months, so you'd have to keep in mind where you are at all times. I do know some of the newer RVs come with what they call a polar pack or a four-season pack where it's all wrapped in heat tape basically, so you can go in some pretty cold climates and not have to worry about it as long as your heat tape was working, or your heated tanks as they call them were working. I do think that is a really cool idea, and I would like to know how well those work firsthand. So let me know if you have experienced those firsthand, and just let me know in general the pros and cons of living in an RV full time. Because I would like I said, the aspect of living in one full time and living cheaply, I think is a cool idea. And a lot of people are going, well, you can't live in an RV cheaply. And my thought is, I think I could live in an RV cheaper than I can in a home. Because in the past 2 years, in my own home, I have replaced vinyl siding, I have replaced a roof, and a couple years before that, I have replaced all the windows in my home with vinyl windows. So I don't think RVs can be any more expensive than that to keep them up. I don't know what the pros and cons are of keeping an RV and never upgrading over the years. I don't know the pros and cons of maybe upgrading every 3 to 4 years like some people seem to do with vehicles. I mean, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? I know a lot of this depends on the individual, but like I said, I'm just out there wanting to dream the dream and live it, and not just really dream it. So that's why I'm rambling on about RVs. They've got so many styles out there now. So many companies make them now. So it's hard to tell what's a good one. When I was growing up, the only RV I really knew about was the Winnebagos. And the Winnebagos are still around, so I'm assuming that would probably be a good brand to go with, because they've been around for quite a while. And Fleetwood also makes RVs. They've been around for quite a while, I understand, from the research I've been doing. So, like I said, I just don't know what would be good and what would not be good. So please get those letters coming via email, please. I'd like to know the pros and cons. And if you just tuned in, you are listening to RadioVisions, live internet talk radio, broadcasting from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Central Time every Friday and Saturday nights. To ask questions or to get readings done, instant message Darrah using the AOL Instant Messenger on the right. And we are currently looking for artists and musicians to submit their original work so we can air it on RadioVisions. We are looking for music in the areas of New Age and smooth jazz, cool jazz as well. Now, if you produce music that is outside of those areas, please feel free to submit that work as well. Because the New Age and the cool and smooth jazz was just a starting place. We don't know if that's all we're going to play, but it was just a starting place. So if you produce other stuff, please let us know, and we would be happy to at least give it a listen and see if it makes it into the computer system. I'm sure it will, sooner or later, but that's where we're at. Just having a good time, trying to get people to submit their music. We've had a few people do so already. We just need more than just a few. So please keep it coming. We're getting quite a few people that are looking at the website. They're just not submitting any work. And yes, in the past 2 weeks when we thought we were broadcasting live to everybody, we actually had some technical problems and our broadcasting really wasn't going anywhere. I want to apologize for that, for making you guys frustrated with trying to listen but couldn't. And I think I've got it fixed now, so bear with us as we get all the bugs worked out of this. I do appreciate your support on that end as well. And I also like to thank everybody that's been reading our ads and all the bulletin boards to find out about us. And if you have found out about us and would like to tell some friends of yours, please feel free to do so. Get that word of mouth going, and because the more people we have listening, the more we can do here at RadioVisions. And some of you may have noticed in the past week to week and a half that we have advertising on our website now, and that is to help compensate the cost of doing this. So when you get a chance, look at those advertisers. Go check out what they've got, because that not only helps us, but it also helps them. And who knows, they may actually have a service that you might be interested in. So feel free to give them a shout out every now and then, check them out. And moving on to the RVs, is sleeping in an RV that big of a deal? I know some people, when they go on vacation and travel, the first couple of nights in a new place in a new bed, they say they can't sleep very well because the bed's headed in the wrong direction. Their head's at the wrong end. They're not facing south, or they're not facing north, or so on and so forth. You get the picture. And an RV is at the same problem because you travel so much. You pull into a parking lot and say, okay, we're staying here for the night. Does that kind of screw up your sleep pattern as well? For me, I don't think it would. But I was just wondering if it did for everybody or didn't for everybody. Because everybody's different, and that's just the way the universe works. I understand that, but I was just curious on, like I said, the pros and cons. And I know the water situation in RVs is limited, even on the big motorhomes, because it's only going to hold so much fresh water. It's only going to have tank capacity for so much wastewater. And usually the water heaters in motorhomes, regardless of what size they are, normally those are only about 4 to 6 gallons. So I guess that makes your showers really, really short, doesn't it? And I'll be honest, there's some mornings where I get up and take very long showers, because it just might have been a long night the night before and I just don't want to get up yet going, oh man, do I have to face the world today? So I take a little extra time in the shower just standing there letting the water hit me. In an RV, am I going to have that same luxury, or is that one of the things I have to give up? I've got a feeling I know the answer to that one. I'll probably have to give that aspect of life up. But that wouldn't be any big deal, I don't think, to be honest. If living in the RV is what I really wanted, then giving up certain things is no big deal. I understand that. Like I said, we're just trying out new venues here. And tonight's new venue was different topics for every time we do something live. And tonight's topic was living in an RV full time. It's always been kind of a crazy dream of mine to do that. Ever since I was a child and seen a book called Rolling Homes, where these people had made custom RVs out of pretty much nothing. They've taken an old pickup truck of some kind or an old bus of some kind, and they had made new back ends on it, new front ends on it, and lived in them, traveled in them, camped in them, made mobile apartments is basically what they were doing. That's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe a year to year and a half after my kids get out of high school is to take this and sell the house, move into an RV, and hit the road and travel around for a while. Do metaphysical fairs, craft shows, state fairs, go set up, do readings from people, that sort of thing. Or maybe just buy some property in the middle of nowhere and just live out by myself for a while. See if I like that. And if I don't like it, I still have the option to travel a little bit. Because why? I live in a motorhome. That's kind of where I was going with it, just the freedom is what I really think would be cool. Everybody needs a little freedom, don't they? And the freedom is always out there, always something interesting. So, if you own an RV or a motorhome, or even a travel trailer, let me know how you guys do it. Especially if you do it full time. Now, if you're only weekend warriors where you're out at the lake every 2 to 3 weeks or every other weekend, you can still contact me and tell me what you think the pros and cons are. I'd still appreciate it very much. But I'm really interested in the people that do it full time. What would if I wanted to do a motorhome full time? And I'm not looking at a big one, I'm looking at Class C motorhomes. How much do you have to give up in order to live in a motorhome? I understand I won't have a place for all the belongings people tend to collect if they have space to collect them. And that's no big deal to me. I mean, things are things, they come and go. And I just want to know how much do you have to give up? What is the give and take? Is it worth it in the long run? Or have most of you found out that have bought into motorhomes and have lived in them full time that it's only fun for 6 months or maybe a year and you're ready to give it all up? I need to know all the aspects of that as well, because it's just, like I said, it just fascinates me, the people that live in them full time. And I someday had seriously considered wanting to live in them full time. That's why tonight's topic was motorhomes. So please keep in mind that you are listening to RadioVisions, broadcasting from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. Central Time every Friday and Saturday nights. To ask questions or to get readings done, just I am Darrah using the AOL Instant Messenger to the right of the screen. And remember, regardless what the topic is, if you want a reading done, just contact me and we will get that reading underway as quickly as possible to get you taken care of. And so on and so forth. Because that's really why we're here, or why we started doing this, was to help everybody or help more people. Because where I am now, I'm located in one town and one town only. I do travel from time to time to do larger shows like the Imagine show, the Stranger show, the Talking to the Afterlife show. I do get to go to different places from time to time to do those style of shows. But more often than not, I do personal readings on a one-on-one basis. And I figured by doing or offering free readings over a talk radio style program, I can reach more people and help more people. And that's really what I want to do, is help as many people as I can. And so please keep in mind, no matter what the topic is, we will always take the time to do readings for you, because that's what we're here for. So getting back to what our topic was RVs. So kind of recap of what we've kind of talked about was the pros and cons of living in an RV full time. How much do we really have to give up to live in an RV, or how much do we really gain by living in an RV? Is it actually cheaper to live in an RV versus conventional housing like a house, an apartment, a mobile home, a condo, that sort of housing? What's cheaper, what's not? Is it living in an RV full time really practical in all states, or in certain states is it more feasible to do that than others? That's kind of an interesting idea, because would Wyoming be a cheaper state to live in if you lived in an RV, or would it be a more expensive state to live in if you lived in an RV? Something I hadn't really thought about until just now, but you never know. So keep that in mind. I'd like your input. So if you're listening to this, please email me all your thoughts and inputs and your pros and cons. Because right now the only con I can see with living in an RV would be the water situation. Because like I said, unless you're in a RV park where you can hook up to water and sewer right then and there, that aspect there it would become a moot point and no big deal. But I also understand that if you're traveling quite extensively, finding dump stations and fill stations in some states and cities is quite tricky. So I was just wondering the pros and cons, weighing it all out, you know. So that's what the big thing was, because someday I would like to live in an RV full time, travel around doing shows like the one you're listening to for live events like metaphysical fairs, state fairs, county fairs, wine fairs. So we could broadcast the radio program from all over the United States. That would be fun. And it is getting close to the end of our broadcasting session, and I would like some input back as well on what you guys think about the new format of having a different topic each night that we're here, and not necessarily on the metaphysical, but on different things from paranormal to supernatural to everyday life to RVs to what restaurants are good and what restaurants aren't, you know, everything like that in between. Because I want this to eventually I want to give everybody enough information and enough topics out there that this will round itself out into what kind of format it's really going to take. And I think that's really going to be a cool aspect of what we do compared to what other radio stations do. Because other radio stations are told what they have to do and what their format's going to be. And I want you, the people that are listening to it, to decide on what the format's going to be, how it's going to be, and so on and so forth. That's really the goal that I'm trying to go for. So keep that in mind. So, like I said, right now we're doing a different topic each night, and that may change later and go back to strictly doing readings strictly or metaphysical topics fit strictly. So, but like I said, as of now, I wanted to keep this rounded out and going strong and good and all that jazz. Just got to keep on keeping on, like they used to say. So, give me your input, give me your output. Let me know what you guys think about living in motorhomes full time, living in campers full time, living in trailers full time. Pros and cons. Anything else in between there would be great. Let me know what you think of the new format. Love it, hate it, sort of thing. That's always good to know. Because, like I said, this is new to me as well. So this is all of a testing period to find out where we're going to stand, where we're not going to stand. What works, what doesn't work. So I need to hear from you if you like the format, if you hate the format. If you have ideas for a format that we haven't talked about yet, please submit those via email. Let us know that you're out there. Let us know that you're listening. That's the big thing, is let us know that you're listening. If everybody that listens to me tonight can let me know that you're listening, I'd appreciate it. Even if you're listening to this as a rebroadcast, please let me know that you listened to it. Let me know what you thought of it, so on and so forth. Because without you guys, this is really nothing in, I guess you could say. But like I said, this is for you, the listeners. And like I said, I decided to put this radio station together so I could reach more people and help more people than I am currently. Because currently I do more personal readings than anything. Even my big shows, I do more personal readings than anything. And I figured this way I could reach out and do more for people via the internet radio station than I could just here home locally. And that's really what I wanted to get out there and stressed out there, is that I'm here to help you. So when you have a problem or need someone to look at a certain area of your life, let me know. I'm happy to do that. So this is Friday night, November 21st, 2008. And please join me tomorrow night, which will be Saturday, November 22nd at 10 p.m. Until then, this is Darrah, and you all have a great night and a wonderful time. Bye-bye.